Hello, my beautiful warriors of love. It is me, Tarek Bliss Bibi, and I'm here with the co creator of our Sex and Money trauma program, Dr. Lisha Antiqua.
Thank you, Tarek. Thanks, everybody. I'm so excited to be here and guide with Tarek you through this beautiful process and all of these classes. So appreciate you.
Yeah, what a beautiful collaboration. I've been working with Dr. Antiqua for like around, I don't know, it's been months now, and it's helped with integration of shadow, helping with addictions, helping with relationships and soulmates and self love and all sorts of beautiful things.
Yes.
And
And I
it's
have been
beautiful because you also got to
to
receive some
receive
of my
more,
work.
yes, to receive more abundance and money and clearing. And so together we are going to walk you through this incredible practice, and we have some good things stored today. I've been doing trauma work and healing sexual integration and sexual trauma for 23 years. I have a practice in Alaska, but I work with people all over the world. And to learn more about me, you can check out lishaantica.com. And these are two of my favorite subjects because they're so taboo and they're transformational when we clear them.
Biggest problems on our planet right now, sex and money. And when I was working with Lisha, I did have an experience. It was more of like an entity experience or a jinn experience when I was 4. So it was some kind of sexual trauma on a spiritual level, like on an energetic level. And working with Lisha was, I was able to really, I call her Lisha, you guys can call her Dr. Antica.
Either works.
Because I really get close as friendship. You're either like super close friend or not. So yeah, and full respect to her work. It's really helped me and connect the dots in how this area has impacted my ability to experience sensuality and pleasure and make love to my partner at the time. And so and also why I get overwhelmed and try to numb myself out, and safety at night till I was still experiencing where I'd wake up at night just because I heard like a little sound. So I was able to connect all those dots. And working with Lisha, it was beautiful to see her say she wanted to hit a certain goal financially and hit it. Not every single month, but it was pretty consistent.
But it comes in the most beautiful ways, right? Like we're still working. I'm still working with Tarek to get it to come in the way that I want to. But I had 300 people today on my TikTok live
Yay.
morning. So, like working with you has been absolutely transformational. And I have so much more peace around abundance and money and my value
Beautiful.
and my worth,
Beautiful.
and less stress and less shame, less guilt around making money. So we're going to talk about that today in this session. And yeah, so working with you has been such an honor too. So
Beautiful. Thank
yay.
you. Yeah, and I remember 10 months ago, I was into this beautiful person. I've been calling in a life partner for maybe a year now, 2 years, and then met this beautiful person, and talking to Lisha, she helped me, stop messing around and just like really go for it. And I did, and it was one of those soulmate relationships that changes your life. And to not play it safe and just have safe relationships, which is what I've been doing for 10 years. So really calling in a beautiful beloved into my life just early on. And so for you to hit your financial goals of 10,
15.
15K, and for me to manifest my life partner. And I remember saying it to you. I was like, well, manifest, I wanted a life partner, and I manifested a beautiful soulmate. And it's been an amazing journey in the last 10 months, and
I
recently
love
concluded. But I'm really grateful for the journey. It's opened up my heart and allowed for more innocence and delicateness and so much. So we're sharing these stories with you guys because we're sharing the story of what got us to be here today, to want to share this with you guys, right? There's always a story and inspiration. So I was like, wow, the sexual trauma thing has been something in my shadow for all this time, and then asked for the perfect support, and Lisha came in with all this wisdom and information and experience and connecting the dots pretty easily, where I was scratching my head for years and years looking for solutions from all these healers and doing my own healing and not getting the results. So here we are today, helping you with all things sex and money and the root of them. If there are any traumas anywhere in the spectrum, we're here to support you, because sex is one of the most powerful energies on our planet, and money is one of the biggest challenges on our planet. So those are the top two challenges on planet Earth. And as you go through this journey, you're not only shifting it for yourself, but you're shifting it for your future generations and your whole ancestral lineage. So really excited, and I want to thank you for for saying yes, for investing in yourself and making a difference, because what you do for yourself, you actually impact the collective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay. And Lisha, we're going to do this so that we're inviting you guys to listen to these audios once a week. You don't need to listen to it more than once. If you feel the need to go deeper, if you felt like you were resisting the whole audio and you wanted to go deeper, you're welcome to. But I'm personally saying, for the healing aspect of it, just listen to it once, because next week you're going to listen to module number 2. And what about you, Lisha? Do you feel any different about that?
No, they're going to grow on each other. So if this is the first time you've heard, because I'm going to do some education, because
Mm-hmm.
it it it's beautiful to understand that you're normal, that this is normal,
Mm-hmm.
and you can forgive yourself, you can love yourself, you can
Mm-hmm.
give yourself some compassion, some acceptance. So if you haven't
Mm-hmm.
heard this information before around sex and money and your creative power and your pleasure and your choice and your decisions and your value and your worth and how it all wraps in a nice little bow,
Mm-hmm.
feel free to listen as many times as you want.
Yeah.
But this healing, the clearing, and the energy work that is done is going to be complete.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And yeah, and what I've been doing for the last 13 years is helping mostly spiritual women healers, or women on the spiritual path, and I now identify them as warriors of love, whether you're a woman or a man, or identify as either. And you feel like you're here as a warrior. Here, you have a close connection with Source God, and you're here to make a difference. You've been through a lot yourself. I call them initiation experiences, and you're really different than most people. You're here to play at a higher spiritual level, and make a bigger difference. And you're able to go into those depths. You've been through the depths yourself, and you're able to hold space for others to go there with you. And we've been through a lot, me and Lisha, and so that helps us hold space for others to. There's no judgment. We understand. We have empathy, because we've been there. Maybe not exactly where you've been, but we've been to the depths. We felt the fires.
We've been crystallized.
Yeah, we've let our coal body crystallize into beautiful diamonds. Yeah. Okay,
Oh, so
so that's how it's going to go. Lisha's going to share a lot of information. Feel free to take down some notes, and then when I do my segment, it's going to be the infinity healing, and I'll explain how it works right before. And Lisha also will be doing some healing and integration practices as well. So you've got our combined superpowers, combined wisdom, combined experience, and our combined intentions.
So part of this is about trauma. So if anything does trigger you, I just want to invite you to place your hands on your heart
Mm.
and just slow down your breath and breathe and remind yourself that you've already survived. So if any of this brings up anything and is want to really cover this space, creates a safe space for you, bringing your hands to your heart, taking a nice deep breath, and remember that you already survived. So I would like to share maybe a side of the shadow. We're going to share about how we understand shadow, victim consciousness, and then these emotions, shame and guilt that really lead to blame, and the integration of the saboteur, which I call one of the classic archetypes that we all have. One of my teachers, Carolyn Mays, talks about how self-saboteur is everybody has one. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
has a saboteur. And it's really part of the ego that keeps us in the same pattern, repeating the same old thing over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the shadow. The shadow
Lisha,
is
sorry to interrupt. How about we just start by inviting our audience to set an intention. That way, we're all co-creating it together. Yeah, let's just take 1 minute because we're right at the beginning. I just got the intuitive nudge to do this, and then please continue. So just take a moment now. Take a deep belly breath and release. And what is your intention for this journey? We've got a beautiful journey ahead of us. You can set the intention now, re listen to the program when you're done, have a new intention. So, what is your clear intention or general intention for your experience with us in the Sex and Money Trauma Healing Program? Take a moment, write it out, say it out loud, think it, feel it, and let's just take 30 seconds or a minute to do that. Beautiful. And if you just did one for money, maybe do one for sex, or if it was the other way around, feel free to take this time to do it for the other one now. Beautiful. And we'll just add to that this or something greater, more than what we know to ask for. Thank you, and so it is. And I will just do a general intention for us that throughout this experience, we're intending that you experience financial freedom, abundance, empowerment, beautiful, healthy relationship with money, clearing anywhere where we're stuck or we have these ceilings or we're not owning our value, charging our worth. And then with sex, I would also say sexual freedom, liberation, empowerment, sovereignty. You know, imagine the goddess, God version of yourself that is just so empowered and just magnetic and attractive. Lisha, do you have a general intention for our audience? And then
I love
please
those. I think
continue.
those
Yeah,
are perfect.
perfect.
Those are
Awesome.
perfect.
Awesome. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with the shadow. And Tarek, of course, I'd love your input on how you see the shadow, but I see the shadow as anything that we have in the dark. Oftentimes, when people talk about shadow work, they talk about kind of negative things or evil things or taboo things, things that are deemed negative or bad, unhealthy, unholy in our realm. But I see shadow as a trauma therapist very differently than that. I see it as anything that you don't see. So for many of my clients experience childhood abuse and sexual abuse, and they've come to terms with not being enough and being dirty and not liking themselves and being an object or being objectified, fearing the dark. Like they've come to terms with these being lack or being poor or undeserving or whatever description that they really had to adopt of themselves in order to live with their parents or their caregivers in the environment that they grew up in. So their shadows are the shadow of I'm lovely, I am enough, I am complete, I am beautiful, I am worthy, I am valuable, I am pure. Right? So you look at your shadows from places, where do you find a little bit of anxiety, a little pushback from your brain or from your emotional body that says, oh no, that's not true. And what are you fighting for? So many people that have gone through trauma, whether it's value trauma with money or sexual trauma, we have this story within us of not enough, either not enough money or not enough love, not lovable enough. And so which side are you standing for? Which side are your shadows on? Because your shadows might very much be in the light. You might be more of a full moon person rather than a new moon person, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I like that.
What about you? How would you explain shadow?
Yeah, thanks for that. I would, you're right. Shadow kind of has this like, oh, dark and evil, but it's like an aspect of yourself as kids. You know, if you look at kids, they're doing all sorts of stuff. They're beating up their brothers and sisters. They have wild imaginations. You know, sometimes they're doing something that parents are like, religion says that's bad, or, you know, if I don't know, just sexually, if they're even awakened sexually, or they don't even see it as sexually something. And so, if imagine you're just innocent and you're running around naked, you are uh, eating as many cookies as you want, and then someone comes along and says bad, showing your body naked. So now already there's a split that goes good, bad, bad, must hide naked body, right? There's a judgment. So it's like an external judgment that we internalize, and now that's an internal judgment. Now, instead of being this whole, complete, beautiful, innocent being I have to hide this aspect of myself. So with the cookie example, it's like I ate two cookies. My mom caught me. She was like, "That's so greedy. You ate two. You should have just ate one." So now there's a shadow aspect of myself. When no one's around, I can eat as much as I want because I allowed an external judgment into myself, right? And now there's a split. Do they call it a schism, Lisha? Like a split in our wholeness, right? Now when there's something in the shadow, that's when no one's there because we're afraid of their judgment, as opposed to being empowered and being like, yes, I'm eating two cookies out in the open with friends and I feel good. There's no blame, guilt about it. Or I go to a nude beach and I embrace my nude body and I'm not projecting outwards that everyone is judging me.
Beautiful. I love it. So next we're going to talk about victim consciousness. So victim consciousness is twofold, and we have four layers of primary ego consciousness that trauma lives in. So the first layer that trauma lives in is your physical body. So even if you experienced a trauma that wasn't necessarily physical, say it was emotional or spiritual, you might experience it in your physical body later on through disease. So fibromyalgia, different forms of cancer, chronic aches and pains, pretty much all autoimmune diseases are caused by trauma and in the base of it. So there's a lovely book, The Body Keeps a Score, that you might have heard of, that really goes into the details of proving that. The next layer is your mind. So your mind is your judgments and your visions. For many survivors of trauma, we have this victim consciousness that shows us the evidence and the perception of life not being for us. And so we continue to have the same struggles. We don't see the opportunities, the financial things that might come up for us. We might have this story that runs in our head of money doesn't grow on trees, or you can't get a break. And so what we keep thinking continuously is what we see in our reality bubble. So to shift that, we are going to clear some of the things so you can see clearly through your consciousness. The next conscious layer that lives on is your emotional layer, which is how energy moves. And we're going to talk about some of the emotions, the shame, the guilt, and the blame that keep these really trapped in what I call the first dimension of emotional intelligence or emotional maturity. And so these emotions actually stop the flow of movement. It's like a dam. If a beaver was swimming, you'd build up a dam, right? Well, you'd be damned if you got stuck there, not having that flow of money. So we want to rip up that dam and let your money, your abundance flow and create this. So the consciousness, the victim consciousness is phase one consciousness of shame, blame, and guilt, or hyper control, the narcissistic hyper control, controlling bodies, needing to look a certain way, act a certain way, fit into a certain box, kind of control. that we can let that go so you can have more flow of all things in your life, but especially money for this particular course. And then the last phase of your consciousness is really your reality bubble. You have an electromagnetic field. And when your electromagnetic field is turned on to things that you don't want, or those shadow things, um, things that you're thinking about when you're perpetually thinking about this victim consciousness, or there's not enough, or lack mentality, what happens, this poor me mentality, what happens is you attract what you think about, you attract what you feel from this electromagnetic field, your vibe. And so you can release that. We're going to clear that. Tarek is a genius at clearing that and helping you clear it for yourself, to release that mentality, that vibration from your electromagnetic field. So then you can have a new perspective, have more ease, not being dammed up in your emotions, and then magnetize towards you more abundance, more freedom, and more of the living or thriving even energy, rather than the victim consciousness or survivor consciousness of reality. So we're going to clear those today.
Beautiful. So exciting. Yeah, for everything we're doing, guys, we're going to be clearing and anything that is sexual trauma at the root of these topics that we're focusing on, as well as money traumas as well. So how I see the shadow from my own experience is I spent a lot of time growing up blaming my dad for what I thought was hating me, right? So I spent a lot of time hating my dad, trying to turn my whole family against him. And I was blessed with a beautiful younger brother who just didn't buy into this, choosing sides. He just had such a beautiful heart. And no matter how disciplinary my father was, or if he crossed the line with his wanting to teach us to be better humans, whether it was abusive on a physical, emotional, mental level, he was there to show me unconditional love, and I was like, no, that does not deserve unconditional love. So I ended up holding on to the blame, the resentment, the hatred, the anger, and I was the only one suffering. It's almost like me and this person. So look into your life. Who are the people that you haven't forgiven yet, and know that as long as you're not forgiving them, you're still holding on to these boiling, burning coals. And we want to turn those coals into diamonds, right, Lisha? So through forgiveness, you can let that go. You're not saying it's okay what happened. You're saying that I'm not going to let this other person or this external experience negatively hold me back anymore. And yeah, a victim consciousness, you need, if you want to be in victim consciousness, you need someone to blame. You need the bad person. This could play out where we could all be somewhere on the spectrum. We could slip up into victim consciousness. I've done a lot of work on this, and it still creeps up, where if you catch yourself blaming someone else, blame is an unconscious way of giving your power away. So taking your power back, if you catch yourself blaming, take it back, take full responsibility, not from an unhealthy place, but from a healthy place. And for every victimizer, you need for every victim, you need a victimizer, and it's playing out in our reality as those in power, those not in power. It's all just playing out. It's all an external collective manifestation of what's going on within us, right? So when we were kids, authority figures like our parents could be like, don't do this, this and that, and they were doing it. And now here we are as grown-ups, and governments are like, do this, don't do that, and they could do whatever they want. So it's just a game, and we're taking our power back. And collectively, what we're doing within ourselves now is taking our power back and stepping into our conscious creator, like our creator consciousness. That's God consciousness, divine consciousness. Doesn't play the game of victim and victimizer and giving your power away and blaming. It plays the game of I'm consciously co-creating these experiences with other people. Even if they're not fun experiences, they're still there to teach me, right? So so you can go from why is this happening to me, victim mindset, why is this happening to me, poor me, I'm the victim. Or you can shift into what can I learn from this experience? What are these experiences here to teach me? why or how am I co-creating these experiences, right? So it's a reminder that no matter how bad these experiences are, and I know some people are like, but these terrible things happen. Like, we're not here to say you're at fault for these bad things happening. I'm just saying, look at your life and the things that are happening. Is there some, can you open up to the idea that you could potentially be co-creating these experiences on some level, because then it gives you a sense of empowerment, and knowing that you're co-creating, especially if it's a pattern that keeps happening. What's the common denominator, right? For me, it was myself. Why did I keep experiencing getting bullied, or whatever patterns were happening, not feeling good enough? I'm the common denominator. And so when I clear that within myself, it then shifted into discovering my purpose as a healer and experiencing more financial abundance, going from broke to hitting six figures, and then helping other healers do the same. It all started with forgiveness and shifting out of victim consciousness. So I'm so happy we get to dive deep today and do some healing for that.
Yes, me too. Me too. All right, so let's talk about how sex plays into all of this as we get into the emotions of blame and guilt and shame. So one of the biggest holds for people that have gone through sexual dysfunction, sexual disconnection, and sexual abuse is feeling like, well, one, you were victimized. So let's just acknowledge that if you've been through sexual abuse and or sex is an issue, please, and you were victimized through it, it is okay. It is safe here to admit that you were victimized. Victimization is not victim consciousness. Super important. Victimization is not super consciousness or victim consciousness. When you are victimized, you are victimized. And so first and foremost, validate yourself in all of this, validate your experiences. Then we often feel other people's guilt. So I want to invite you to understand the difference between blame, which is somebody did something to me, where it's an active blame. And oftentimes when we blame somebody else, we feel guilty. And guilty is oftentimes not really guilt, it's actually shame. And so if your guilt or feels like I am wrong, it's a self-judgment, I am wrong, that's actually shame. And if you are wrong because of something that that person did, especially sexually to you, whether you were raped or molested or just touched, or somebody withheld sex from you, or you withheld sex from somebody else, or maybe you've had so much religious fear around sex and sexuality that you haven't gone there, or you have shame around going there. If you do it, then you'll be a bad person, right? If you have this self-judgment, that is false shame, false shame, because it's something that somebody else did, and you cannot take responsibility for something that somebody else did. Now, if you have shame because you need to forgive yourself, or you get this opportunity to forgive yourself for something that you did, say that you were molested and so you had hypersexuality, so then you went out and you slept with a whole bunch of different people, but it left you feeling more empty than alive. So now you have this feeling of shame because you didn't really choose that life, you didn't really want that life, and you have some judgments around it, but you did it anyway. That's when we're going to invite the healings and the forgiveness into this, so you can release that shame, so you can release that reaction, that really normal reaction to get hypersexual after being sexualized your whole life and that being your identity. It is normal to be hyper or hypo-sexual, meaning either not wanting anything to do with it at all and having a completely unbalanced life with it, or having tremendous sexual appetite and going out and sleeping with anybody or being reckless in that. Both of those are super, super normal. So in this program, we're going to bring that into balance, because your sexual energy is your creative energy. It is what you create from. It's also your pleasure principle, and it's your choice, your first place of sovereignty. We couldn't create life itself without it, and we don't really, we spend our money on things that we create, right? And when you have self sovereignty, which is taken away from you if you've been sexually abused, self sovereignty is taken from you. And so, not knowing how to choose whether to say yes or no, feeling like you're backed into a corner is really normal. And this plays out in your financial life because money gives us choices. It might not give us happiness, but if you're broke, you have no choice. If you have money, you have a plethora of choices. If you've never allowed yourself to have choice, or you've never been allowed to have choice because you were victimized or because you were raised in a controlling environment and or sex was demonized, then this energy within itself has been sabotaged. This energy within itself has been muddied. So our intention, my intention with Tarek, is to clear that energy so you can forgive yourself for any shame that you might have due to reactivity towards sex or sexual trauma. And then ask yourself, like, am I guilty? Because oftentimes, especially as healers and empaths and intuitives, we tend to be very much like, we have empathy for the other person, we have empathy, and then we can do over responsibility. So is it really your guilt, or are you carrying somebody else's guilt? And if you're carrying somebody else's guilt, go ahead and forgive that guilt back. So one part of NLP, neuro linguistic programming, is they teach that you forgive something back. Forgiveness is giving their energy back to them so they can paint the room in their house. And I love the analogy of, this is my house, but if somebody comes in and rents a room in my house, I can't go into their room and like paint the walls and go through their drawers. It's their room. Same goes if you're renting a room in somebody else's house, you can't go in and paint the walls and do anything there. It's really, both people are not powerful. But when you own your own house and you own your own space, you can paint the walls any friggin' color you want. So we want you to be able to create and paint the colors any way you want. So if you're carrying guilt that somebody else is, my invitation to you through this process is to give them back their guilt, or give them their guilt so they can do with it what they need, and call your own guilt back to you. We've all done things that we feel guilty about, but that gives us perspective so we can shift and change into, really creating that creative energy again, to choose how you want to be your best self, how you want to integrate into your own life, and how you want to use this beautiful, sensual, sexual energy. And so that's really about those three aspects. And we'll get more into sex and sexuality and fun and pleasure and joy and peace and how that all plays as we go through this course. What do you
Thanks,
think,
Lisha.
Tarek?
I love it. It's just, I'm so glad we get to do this. It's so needed, and it's so empowering, and it's hitting right into the core. I feel like we can do tons of healing sessions, and I feel like in the healing world there's not as much shadow work as I feel is needed. There's a lot of, like, it's almost like part of our shadow is keeping us addicted to doing healing healing work, as opposed to, it's like we'll do everything except the one thing. It's like we'll clean the house entirely, but we're leaving the basement in a state of chaos.
And
So, right?
I,
Yeah.
mhm,
Because it's in the basement, no one's going to see it. But our
right?
invitation is to go into the basement, have it be beautified and feng shuied, because it plays a very important part. In fact, I would go as far as to say is your divinity is in your shadow, your power is in your shadow. Like the things that are people's like biggest traumas, in it has seeds of divinity that can be used as your greatest power in life. So there's all these God molecules just hanging out in your shadow, and they want to be integrated and be a part of the whole, because those people who are here, who are destined to be great singers, might have been ridiculed for singing as kids. Great dancers might have been shunned as not part of the dancing team. So it's like God, source, universe creates the hero heroine's journey for us, and it includes the kind of part where we feel down on ourselves, someone's judging it, we're stuck, and we can alchemize those experiences in the shadow so they propel us forward on our path. So, Lisha, I'm ready to get into some infinity healings, and then at the end, feel free to take it from there and add anything else you want to add, okay?
Beautiful. I was right there with you. Perfect.
Awesome.
I will
Beautiful.
receive and I'll hold
Okay.
ready
Yes.
to.
We're all giving and receiving all at the same time. So, the way this works is, if it's your first time, this is source or God or universe's energy. If you don't resonate with those three words, substitute it with a word that you use. And this energy to me is infinitely powerful, infinitely conscious. It knows exactly what's going on with you. It knows exactly what to do about it. It goes after your limiting beliefs, your fears, your emotions, your root traumas, things from childhood, something with mom or dad, the whole entire ancestral lineage, future generations if you have children or grandchildren or both, or great grandchildren. And it actually does more than what we even can fathom. It does more things that we have learned. And during my journey doing this work, I realized, why compete and try to know everything infinite intelligence knows or God knows, when God's right here with us, working with us. So God is our ally, source is our ally, and it's right there with us. And all you need to do to activate this infinity healing is say yes. And when you do that, infinite things happen for you. Whatever gets alchemized or transmuted or released also gets replaced with what is for your highest good. So with the shadow, for example, it is bad to experience sexual pleasure. Sexual pleasure is bad. Let's say you had an experience growing up and sexual pleasure is bad, right? So now it's in the shadow. Now I can only do that when no one else is around, or I can't, have my sexual energy just like in my auric field, just feeling so alive. And like, think about it. Like, have you ever seen a dog just so full of energy and life force energy, and they're jumping up and down and they want to play? Sexual energy doesn't mean they're saying have sex with me. Sexual energy is your life force energy. It's that aura of beauty, of brilliance, of attractiveness. And we can have that circulating in our energy field. And there's a reason why women don't feel safe to have it fully circulating, because how male egos have been reacting to it. But we're changing now. The world's changing, and there's more women are stepping into their power, and they're integrating their masculine, saying, no, you can't do that. The whole Me Too movement and all that. I believe it has alternative, there's an alternative reason for that, but in the positive is women are stepping up. And so imagine a world where a woman can be in her full brilliance and power and beauty, and the man can be in his humility and bow down metaphorically to this beauty without having to act on it from an unhealthy place. Okay, so would you like an infinity healing starting now for Source God Universe to connect to you, clear anything stopping you from receiving or releasing the maximum during today's session? If you'd like that, just say yes. Yes. Any part of you resisting or sabotaging, would you like Source God Universe to clear the parts that are in the way now, throughout the session, and even after? Would you like that? Yes, not just to set them aside, but to show these parts of us, the saboteur, the ego, what's going on from the highest perspective, so that they're on the same page with us. Would you like that? Yes, and your higher self can connect you with the perfect energies and beings that are for your highest good. Do you give it permission to do that? And so you can imagine your guides, your angels, or whatever you resonate with. Some people just want to work straight God, source, universe. Do you give these energies and beings that your soul has called in to do infinite things for you that are for your highest good starting now? Would you like that? And your higher self knows exactly what to integrate into today's healing. Would you like your higher self to choose what to work on and integrate it automatically, or automagically, as I like to say, during today's session? Yes, beautiful. Starting now, would you like an infinity healing to integrate your shadow self? To integrate the parts of yourself that have been judged, shunned, been made to feel bad, not good enough, not worthy. So, step one, releasing the judgment towards these aspects of ourselves from the moment of conception, from when it first started. So now that I'm releasing all judgments to these parts of myself, I am now reclaiming them. I'm integrating them. They're part of my being now. They're whole, they're complete. And I can send them love because they were in the basement not getting any light. And in fact, they were getting more and more powerful. It's scarier to me someone who just goes, no, no shadow, I don't have any shadow, it's in the basement, getting louder and louder, like the horror movies. Yeah, the horror movies where it starts banging on the doors and it's like haunting you at night. Haunting you at night. So I would rather us be the people, a civilization, where we are like, I'm very aware that there's this part of me that can do these things to other, like people who've experienced a lot of bad experiences, they can go the route of wanting to put that bad experience on other people. So just being aware that we have these aspects of ourselves. There's this beautiful abundance exercise. Neil Donald Walsh used to talk about it. Wherever he goes, he sees a beautiful mansion. He says, thank you. I'm so grateful that I can receive this. He sees a beautiful car. He goes, thank you. I can receive this. Bless this person. I have it too. And I learned from a Tantra practitioner who went to India and studied with some Tantra teachers, the original OG Tantra practitioners in India. And they would say, her mantra was, her affirmation was, anything bad in the world, like anyone where you go, that person is evil, especially the ones where all of society likes to point their fingers at and say that person's evil. The mantra for that, and really it's very radical, is to go, I have that in me too. Think of our ancestral lineage, all the lifetimes we played the good person role, bad person role. We played all those roles. So either in that way or in the way that there's nothing here that is not part of me. All these are parts of me. And there's something empowering if it resonates with you. It's very radical, but to go, I have this in me too. I choose not to act on it, but all these things, I have them in me too. And then it actually, yeah, I would love to hear your guys' feedback on how that feels for you. But would you like an infinity healing to embrace, embody, integrate, love all aspects of your being, especially the parts that are in the shadow? Would you like that? Release the judgment from external judgment and self-judgment towards any and all parts of yourself. Right? You can't heal, they say with alcoholicism, step one is to admit you're an addict, for example, right? So you can't really do anything about these parts of yourself because there's the two parts. There's, oh my God, I don't judge. I'm a good person. I'm a good religious person. I don't do bad things. But maybe unconsciously in your shadow, you're judging people and you're discriminating or whatever, right? So there's that other aspect of the shadow that we don't want to look at because society says bad people do that, and so it's in our shadow. And it's like in relationships, it could come out unconsciously, and the person you're with is like, where did that come from? From the shadow. So yes. In me, there's someone who judges, there's someone who criticizes, there's someone who blames, like just allowing ourselves to observe the shadow. Would you like an infinity healing to observe the shadow? Wow, it's thinking this, it's feeling anger and animosity and jealousy and insecurity and all these things. Like if we just shove it down, it's going to get more powerful. So step one is to feel it, give it some energy, let it out of the basement. If it's a being in the basement, just like, hey, come out of the basement, come into the light, let me see you, right? So would you like that? And know that this dark monster once upon a time was a beautiful, innocent child. If you guys watched the movie Lord of the Rings, there was this character that once was a beautiful hobbit and turned into, what was his name? Smeagol, the little monster creature. So all he was a beautiful being who was sucked into the dark side, right? In life, there's light and dark. So he got sucked into the darkness, and he was feeding the darkness and forgot his light. And that's a beautiful metaphor for our shadow, for darkness in the world. There's a connection between us and jinn, like there's a connection between us and dark beings. There's people who talk about how through thought patterns we're creating entities. So not to bring it into blaming ourselves, but to bring it into an empowering place that sometimes we're creating these things out of our own shadows and darknesses. So would you like an infinity healing to love, integrate, embrace, hold space for, observe, breathe into these parts of ourselves? And there are parts of our being that God is trying to reach, that source energy is trying to penetrate, but we have walls that say, no, that's the basement, do not enter sign. It's just shunned from society. We can't hide it, right? So would you like an infinity healing to allow Source God Universe now to send its infinite love into all parts of ourselves? Because God, Source Energy, does not judge us. God, Source Energy, Universal Energy loves us unconditionally. Would you like an infinity healing to remember unconditional love, to be unconditional love, to receive unconditional love, and to send unconditional love to all parts of our being, especially the shadows? Yes. Would you like an infinity healing to clear the victim consciousness, to show your mind how it can take its power back, to clear blame, to transmute, alchemize guilt and shame, and allow ourselves to default now into creator consciousness, where we can take ownership of what we're co-creating. We can learn the lessons, clear the karma. We can see it all from the highest perspective. We're aware that we're co-creating these experiences with those around us. We're aware sometimes that our higher self literally gives a script to the people we're in relationship to, and it tells the other person, say this thing because it's going to trigger Tarek, and Tarek's going to release these core traumas. So a creator consciousness sees, okay, what was that there to teach me? Yes, it brought up so much for me. I'm observing what it's brought up. I'm not blaming, I'm not shooting the messenger. I see this messenger as an angel. And to quote Neil Donald Walsh again, he's with us today in spirit. In one of his books, there was this person who said, but this person came and robbed me, and this person stole from me, and this person betrayed me. And then in God's words, God would respond to Neil Donald Walsh and said, I have sent you nothing but angels. And it's such a beautiful story because we judge bad, negative experiences, but really on some level, God has sent us nothing but angels. So would you like to see it from that perspective, from that higher perspective, that everything is here to serve us? Even darkness is here to propel us forward. Would you like to just allow ourselves to use all these things, energies, really it's all energy at the end of the day, to propel us forward to being whole, complete, to take our power back, to be our creator consciousness? So breaking the cycle from its root, from the moment of conception. I was watching some documentaries, ancient civilizations and hidden, forbidden truths of our ancestry. And it's like, there's a theory out there that a lot of people believe that the first man was created to be subservient to these other quote unquote godly beings. Now I know this is a divisive topic. I'm not saying I believe it, because in religion we're told, the Abrahamic religions at least, God created Adam, and then there's these other thoughts. But I feel like in our DNA, ancestral DNA, genetics, there's this whole like slave master, victim, victimizer. It's so old. So even if you are religious, maybe there's something to do with the dark beings in religious culture, in religious understanding of our history, that is creating self-hatred, that is creating disempowerment. I really believe God wants us to be our most powerful selves, because from a place of empowerment and clear energy, integrated whole, we can then go and be great representatives for this God force and do all that we're here to be and do without these. There are ways that the darkness within and without is using these tricks to keep us feeling guilt and shame and blame and judgment. These are all ways of like going against the force of God and love. So would you like to clear that, take our power back from that, see it all from the highest perspective, let it go and be shared with the whole collective, with our whole ancestral lineage? And would you like an infinity healing to clear, heal any and all self-sabotage, show the mind that it's safe, show the ego that it's safe, even if past experiences, you wanted something, a relationship, you wanted more money, you wanted to have a great intimate experience with yourself, with others, and bad things happen. Would you like an infinity healing? Show your mind, show your ego that it's safe to be thriving financially, safe to have all the sexual empowerment, safe to step into your power, and to learn the lessons from the past, clear the karma, take your power back, forgive those, forgive yourself, forgive all involved, so that you are free, empowered, and sovereign on all levels, and that it's safe for you to move forward and take inspired action if needed to create your ultimate reality. Would you like that? Yeah, so remembering and integrating all parts of yourself, the masculine, the feminine, the shadow, the light, all aspects fully integrated. And I have here some notes about the different archetypes, and if there's anything you want to integrate into this, Lisha, when I'm done, please let me know. So let's clear all the limiting beliefs, all the fears, all the emotions, all the root traumas that are connected to shadow, self-sabotage, victim consciousness, healing them from the root of the root of the root, everything connecting to it, everyone connecting to it, sending infinity healings to all parts, all experiences. Would you like that? Okay, so an infinity healing to observe when it comes up, observe these parts of ourselves. It's like allowing a flashlight to go into the basement, look at everything, turn the light on. Wow, okay. I don't love this, but I'm learning to love it. I'm learning to accept it. It's part of the house, and I'm starting to clean it and clear it and organize it and integrate it. And now it's like, hey guys, come check out my beautiful basement. You're just so proud of it, and it's the best part of you. So, would you like an infinity healing to allow for healing for those emotional triggers? And for the 4 archetypes that comes from the book King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, it's mostly referred to for men, but it can be integrated for women as well. Would you like an infinity healing for the king/queen that can then become a tyrant or a weakling? So healing the shadow of the queen and the king archetype. You can become the weakling, you can become over abusing your power. Would you like an infinity healing to have the healthiest embodiment of your queen king archetype? Yes. The warrior, again, exists in both men and women. Now the shadow of the warrior is the sadist or the masochist, right? So punishing ourselves or enjoying punishment or punishing others. Would you like an infinity healing to heal those shadow aspects so you can be the healthiest version of the warrior? Yes. The magician, again, the magician is the person who's spiritually tapped into God source energy, can through prayer, through intention, through invocations, can manifest their desired reality because they're in that harmonic flow of the divine. Would you like an infinity healing to activate the healthiest versions of the magician, yet also heal the shadow aspects of the magician that are the detached manipulator and the innocent one? Would you like that? Yes. And would you like an infinity healing to activate the healthy version of the lover? So the healthiest version of the lover archetype. That's the part of us that can write poetry, that falls in love with nature, that can fall in love with our partner, that can be a beautiful partner in our relationships, beautiful friend to our friendship circle. But then there's the shadow aspects where there's the addicted lover, so constantly jumping from one relation to another, not wanting to face some aspect of self. and the impotent lover. Would you like an infinity healing to heal those shadow aspects of yourself and create sacred safe space for all of you to be seen, heard, felt, experienced? Thank you. Lisha's adding some more. These are more from from the female perspective. So I would say both. I would say both. Let's add these archetypes. So the prostitute, right? So I will prostitute myself to gain love or gain whatever. So the prostitute, have the healthiest version of the prostitute. So that doesn't mean, it means you're embracing your sexual energy, right? Lisha, please expand on this.
Yeah, so the prostitute energy, the shadow of it, sells out for safety and security and material gain, sells their soul. And the healthy one retains and protects your soul and your soul essence, your truth, doesn't sell out.
Yet she's embracing her sexuality and sexual energy and her beauty and all that, right?
And her soul self, her
And her soul
safety and
self.
security, she's not selling out.
Beautiful. Would you like an infinity healing to activate the healthiest version of that? Beautiful. And for the inner child, I'm so glad you brought that up. I used to, in men's workshops, always integrate the inner child. So the healthy version of the inner child, it says in the Bible, I believe, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven unless you're in a childlike state. That's how I remember it. And it just means that if you've disconnected from your inner child and you forgot how to have fun and be light and be innocent, and you've lost that along the way, there's this beautiful realm. They call it heaven. It's a state of being. It's a way of being in life, where it's playful, it's light, it's innocent. And so would you like an infinity healing to make sure we have the healthiest inner child integrated? But also the shadow of the inner child is what, Lisha? Like, just stuck, not wanting to take responsibility, just wanting to play all the time. It's everyone else's fault.
Not doing anything, everybody else's fault, needs to be taken care of. Yeah.
Yeah. So would you like to? Yeah. So would you? Yeah, you'll manifest like instead of having a beautiful queen, you're manifesting a mother in your relationship, or if you're a woman, you're manifesting like a father as opposed to someone who's an equal, who's a king alongside you being the queen. So would you like an infinity healing to heal the shadow aspects of the inner child? And to the femme fatale, can you please describe her?
So the femme fatale uses their sexual prowess to manipulate, to get what they want, to it's using sensuality and sexuality to harm others in the shadow. And it is really embracing your sensuality and your sexuality as a power play, as like a just as an energy when it's in the positive.
Yeah, and a lot of movies are like promoting this way of being, and it's like it's this power that women have, and it's like you can have that power, you can use it for good, or you can abuse it and just use it for selfish gain in a negative way, right? There's a healthy way and an unhealthy way. So would you like an infinity healing for the femme fatale to use your, like, there's even positive manipulation, like if you're in a negotiation and something's really good for you, and you can use your power, your energy, your charm, for good. So in a heart-centered way that is for good. So would you like an infinity healing to do that and heal the shadow aspects of the femme fatale? Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. I feel complete for now, Lisha. Is there anything else you want to add before we share the home play for this week?
No, I think that is so beautiful. Thank you so much. My dog is really clingy right now.
Okay.
You guys could see he's like going through the infinity healing, and he's not quite sure what's happening right now. So it was powerful.
Yeah. So a lot of pets, when I do sessions, they'll really be pulled towards that energy. And also, I can also interpret that like you cleared something that made you even more magnetic to love. And to me, dog is God backwards. So you're literally, right, attracting
like
God's unconditional love.
You guys, it's so funny if you saw the video. He's like, no, I'm not letting you go. Yeah, let's talk about the home play and wrap it up.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much. Beautiful to meet you. Can't wait to our next round where we are going
Yes.
to integrate your infinite confidence and owning your value, which
Mm,
totally changes the game with money and beautiful relationships. So,
yes. And self-worth and your infinite sexual and financial freedom, empowerment, sovereignty, letting go, settling for less, having those higher standards, stepping into your king and queen. That's what we'll be doing next week. Can't wait. And for now,
fun.
our home play for you guys is just tune in, journal, write down what are the parts of yourself that are considered the shadow selves. So it's either parts you judge about yourself, growing up, others judged about. You don't feel safe to show these parts to others. So you keep it to yourself. It could be related to shadow aspects sexually. It could be shadow aspects that are blocking financial abundance. Like, I really want to be a millionaire, but I'm told that then I'll be an evil person, so that can go in your shadow. So think about shadow in all aspects, as well as sex and money, and write them down. And then the next step is to send love to all parts of yourself. So, wow, this controlling part of myself, I want to send you love. I know you're here to protect me. This like overly sexual part of myself, I know that there might be a wound connected to that, and I'm sending you love, and I love you, and I see you, and I accept you, right? So connect to all parts. You guys should really see this dog. It's taking over the video. We're on a Zoom recording right now. Just see Lisha wrestling with her dog.
Climbing up me. I'm like, oh my God, what did we just shift? Maybe I need to be very more clear of the sexual stuff. Probably.
Yeah. So
Oh gosh, you guys.
we are magnetic beings. We are magnetic beings, and we're talking about dogs earlier when I was using the metaphor of like sexual energy. Doesn't mean like wanting to have sex, but it's like we are naturally attractive beings. Think of a beautiful flower that is open, and then bees are attracted to it, right? So think about that. We're magnetic, we're attractive, and if we're not receiving the infinite love that we are, something's up. So when we clear it, boom, beautiful manifestation. Dog God wants to come in and does not want to leave. Wants to lick and love every part of ourselves. Your dog's adorable. What's his or her name?
This is Bentley.
Bentley. I love you, Bentley. Thanks for being a part of this. Okay, so that's it. That's all, folks. That's all we have for now, and I'll conclude with a prayer. Please, Source God Universe, deepen today's healings, take them to their infinite next level, share them with our inner children, parents, ancestors, all space, time, and dimensions. Integrate more than what we know to ask for, so that this or something greater will happen. Help us manifest all our heart's desires so that we may feel fulfilled on all levels, and that includes sexually and includes financially, all levels. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. I love
Let
you
it
guys.
go. See you next week.
Take care now.